Hello everybody, this is Runner as always. Um, I haven't done a makeup video in quite a while, so, um, I figured I would do a video, even though I'm not planning on doing much, but I might change my mind. Who knows? I have a bag of makeup. Here's the bag of makeup. So, here is Inky Sticks by NYX. Tonight I need to clean the kitchen counters and I need to, finish, I did dishes recently, like I think yesterday or the day before, and I only had like 2 or 3 left after I was done filming, and so I just left them to be dirty because like they're not gonna hurt anything. And now I have more dishes because, you know, I'm a human and I eat food and drink things daily. Multiple times a day, in fact. So, I've accumulated a few dishes. Not many, but a few. And I want to just, you know, I just want an empty sink, you know? It's just such a satisfactory feeling to have an empty sink after you've had dishes in it for a while. I need to get my eyebrow waxed because, as you can see, I only have one. Nothing wrong with having a unibrow, but I'm going on a trip soon, and I'll probably just shave instead of waxing to save money. But I'm going on a trip. My older sibling and I are going to Texas to see our uncle on our biological father's side. We have seen him a total of 3 or 4 times in our entire lives. And I am 28, and my sibling is 30. On the one hand, it was kind of up in the air whether or not we were actually going to go, because my sibling is doing fertility treatments, and it was a question mark on if my sibling was about to be, you know, like, too busy doing fertility stuff to be able to fly, just because of the timing. And unfortunately, the fertility treatments were not a success. They're not going to stop trying, not yet. And I said, just so you know, regardless of whose egg this baby you create, regardless of if you use an egg donor or if it's your own, either way, you're going to carry that baby inside of you for 9 months, and therefore for the rest of your life you're going to have a little bit of their DNA in your body till the day you die. And they said, thank you so much, that's so sweet. And I'm like, yeah, it comforts me because I'm so far away from my kids, socially. Physically, I'm only like 20 minutes away from one of them and an hour away from the other. I would offer to donate eggs to my sibling, so that they could, get eggs from within their own family so that they're genetically most related to their child as possible. But I have a lot of mental and physical issues that I wouldn't want to pass on to a child. And B, I haven't finished figuring out whether or not I have a chromosome deletion called Williams syndrome. And if I do have it, I will probably get my tubes tied. And if I want kids, I will, adopt or use an egg donor or something like that. But if I have Williams syndrome, I would rather not create more people with the condition. Not because I think that they are less worthy of life, but rather because I would feel too guilty if they got trafficked and I put them into the world knowing they could have gone through that and knowing how bad trafficking is as a survivor. But if I do have Williams syndrome, something is in my eye. Where did I put my tissues? If I do have Williams syndrome, it is definitely the reason why I was so easy to manipulate into being trafficked. I had an entire box of tissues. I don't know where they went. Here, we've got Q-tips. Now, what's in my eye? Oh shit. That's grody. I had an eyelash, really stuck in there. Well, that was why I was tearing up earlier. For absolutely no reason. I'm glad I got it out. Anyway, where's that makeup? But yeah, with Williams syndrome, you have a clinical lack of fear of strangers and usually an intellectual disability of some degree, such as a lower IQ. And I don't feel like I having the trait of being not afraid of strangers will be able to teach a child with that same trait how to survive without going through the same things I went through. I feel like if, it just, I don't want to gamble with something that makes you so vulnerable to A, things that you can't prove, and B, things that will alter you for life. It's not in my wheelhouse to be able to handle that kind of guilt. And the thing is, I wouldn't be able to deny it like my mother did. Her coping mechanism of choice was denial. If she could deny it, she would. And live in a happy world where the truth didn't exist. And I am not able to do that. Wish I could. It was honestly impressive the amount she was able to deny in order to protect herself. And I wish, I could be a little dumber, honestly. Okay. I really wish I could line my upper lids, but on the waterline, but every time I try to, I end up blinking involuntarily as soon as it hits the front of my eye, like the field of view. I don't know why. Oh wait, my eyebrow. Perfect. Okay, well, is it? Maybe a little longer. Okay, perfect. Alright. So yeah, I would donate eggs to my sibling, but it's just without knowing whether or not I have the chromosome deletion that would pass down the traits that I'm worried about passing down. I'm not going to be using my eggs to have any children. And after I get that blood test done to figure out whether or not I have Williams syndrome, if I have it, I'm getting my tubes tied. And if I don't have it, I still might get my tubes tied. But honestly, I've been having baby fever lately. I really want another baby. Hi. Okay, sorry about that abrupt stop to the recording. I forgot to clear my photos storage, the Google Photos storage, before I started recording. Can you please? She was using her claws on my bare knee. The next thing I need to put on my eyeballs is mascara. I'm gonna put these to the side just for now. Alright. This is the L'Oreal Voluminous Original mascara in the shade Cobalt Blue. That was the shade of the eyeliner I'm using by NYX is Cobalt Click. However, L'Oreal makes a cobalt blue gel pencil eyeliner. It's just that it's not the kind that has a lot of product in it like this one does. It's the kind that has a little tiny product at the end and then a pencil this big for you to hold on to. I have it somewhere. Let me see if I have it in this bag right here. I do. It's called the Infallible Pro Last Long Wear Eye Pencil in Cobalt Blue. And again, it's by L'Oreal. You know what? I'm curious. I'm going to put them side by side. Alright, here is the Infallible. And here is Cobalt Click by NYX. I feel like the NYX one is more saturated blue, or maybe it's just more opaque. You see what I mean? Let me angle the... Oops, sorry. Ah, stay still. Here it is with the ring light. So the L'Oreal is on top and the NYX is on bottom. I'm glad that the one I prefer already is the NYX one because it looks better swatch-wise. Anyway, let's move on to mascara. carefully. There you go. You can still look. It's okay. Why is it stuck? Okay. I almost blinded myself again. So I'm gonna start going. What? Hold on. This can't be right. Is it really just that the window behind me is so bright? This ring light is barely doing anything. Alright, let's try this again. So you want to start at the top of your lashes and go downwards. Hold on. And now I've got some downwards. I'm going to go through from the bottom upwards. And you're going to wiggle as you go upwards. Now I'm going through the bottom lashes without dipping back into the container, because this mascara goes pretty far with one swatch. Alright, now I'm gonna do that on the other eye. Since my sibling is not preoccupied with the fertility journey for our time for the trip, we will be leaving this week, later this week. This week meaning, you know, like today is Sunday, tomorrow's gonna be Monday, that week. We are leaving later this week and flying from our own respective states down to Texas to see our uncle who works in the oil industry. And like I said before, my sibling and I have seen him a whopping 4 times in our entire lives. One of those being the fireworks celebration of life for my mom. That literally everybody in the family came to. Okay, there I am. I feel more like myself. Although with just the eyeliner, I look really good. Just with the eyeliner and no mascara. So I will definitely remember that for the future. On days where I don't want to wear a lot of makeup. It's kind of hilarious how you would expect that when men say a lot of makeup, they're talking about looks like I do, but I actually comparatively use very little actual makeup because I barely use concealer, I don't use bronzer, I don't use contour, I don't use foundation. Um, what else? I barely use eyeshadow. Like, I could use eyeshadow today if I want. I have. I had a. What? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I'm so confused. Is it in here? Oh, it's over there. It's under my coffee. I've got a eyeshadow palette that I was thinking about using. Damn, I kind of look sexy just like this. This is the eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna be taking this with me on the trip. It was like $5 and change. Like, it's not small. Like, yeah, it's like petite, but it's not like tiny, you know? Kitten for scale. You know, these are decent sized eyeshadows, and they're very bright. I love bright colors. I didn't decide what colors. I didn't think I would get this far. I dropped this and it's still intact, and it's not the first time I've dropped it. Anyway, the uncle that we're going to see in Texas is our biological uncle on our father's side. So it was our father's older brother. When our father was a small child, he spent time in an abusive foster home while his brother was with a loving family who later adopted my father as well. But by the time they adopted him, the damage had been done, and he was never quite the same, as my uncle put it. And I could see in my father that he was a traumatized autistic kid who just was in an adult body. I was 19, and I remember being able to run laps socially around my father. And it's not that he wasn't intelligent. He was a nuclear engineer in the Navy, and he was buried with full honors. We weren't sure whether he would be buried with full honors or not, but he was. Before he died, actually, while I was living with him, when I was 19, turned 20, he got the paperwork done to change his other than honorable discharge to an honorable discharge. And because of that, he was allowed to own land and probably other things like owning a weapon if he wanted. And he was buried with full honors. And other than honorable is a weird one. You don't see that very often, you know? Look at these two lovebirds. So, my dad had a rough life in general, and died from pneumonia as a complication of drug use, as a complication of homelessness. And he died the month I got married, which was before my son was born. And he never got to meet my son. He never got to meet my daughter in person. He got to see pictures of my daughter. My other dads did not. My first stepdad and second stepdad both passed away while I was still pregnant with my first child. I'm gonna go with pink, which is called Rad, Like, which is purple, and Seriously, which is blue. I'm just trying to figure out which one's lighter and which one's darker. I think the pink is the lightest, but we'll find out. No. I'm confused. I'll just do what I know. I'll do pink, purple, blue. And that will keep it easy. Okay, so that means purple goes in the middle. Where's my mirror? But I, as a result of my dad being, for the most part, a deadbeat, addicted to drugs for most of my life, he was not in the picture half the time. Well, more than half the time. And I didn't get to ask him many questions, like, what's our heritage besides Russian? Turns out we're just a little smidge Kazakhstani, and I would love to know more about that, so I'm gonna spit in a tube and send off my DNA for a company to collect. I have the kit already, I just need to spit in it. I should not have put on the mascara on the lower lashes because I forgot I was doing eyeshadow this time. But it's okay. That's what Q-tips are for. So here's one eye. They're so cute. Oh yeah, and I don't know if those of you who don't watch my non-makeup videos, because I know the algorithm sometimes, because of the personalization of the algorithm that you receive, whatever I post that's not makeup related might not have popped up. Mary and Jane no longer live with us. They are in good hands. Don't worry, I didn't put them in a shelter. Right now they're in quarantine until they get all their shots updated. I took them to I didn't. My dad took me and I brought the cats, each in a crate, and each crate had an article of my clothing I had been wearing for several nights in a row, so that it smelled like me, because that comforts them. I put a piece of clothing in each crate, I let the cats get used to the crate for several days, including putting treats and catnip inside them for several days before they even were due to leave. And then we took them down to North Carolina, and there's a cat cafe. And so I'm hoping that them not liking these cats was just a one-off thing, and they like other cats, because I can see the potential in them for that to happen. But if not, they will be likely separated and put into two different homes, unless somebody really likes rare cats and only wants two cats and doesn't already have cats, in which case they can take both if they want. However, I think logistically it would make more sense to separate them. Um, because it's just hard. It's hard to find owners that want two female orange cats with behavioral issues that get into cat fights with each other. So to separate them and put them into each a household that doesn't have other cats in it would be much, much easier. Or to put them in, like, socialize them at the cafe first, and then put them into a house with other cats. So I'm hoping that they take well to being in the cat cafe. How did I do that? I made, like, dark blue. It's supposed to be cyan. I made dark blue somehow. That's fascinating. Color theory. That's better. Why is my nose running today? I think I have allergies or asthma, or both. It's been a lot more peaceful here ever since the orange cats went to the cafe. I am very, very happy with that decision. I will always think of them and love them. I can't say that I miss them, because I kind of don't. I'm kind of really glad to be... I'm more glad to be rid of them than I thought I would be. And that's saying something. I love them and I always will. But they were truly my ex's cats. And I'm glad I wasn't forced to abandon them to a shelter, like was the alternative to the cat cafe. But it wasn't their fault that they got abandoned with me. So I took the best care of them that I could. I never once I got sober, I never once yelled at them for, like, all the mischief they would get into, you know? Like, if I can find it, I'll post it in the description, a link to the video. But if you, oh yeah, it's titled Luring Mary and Rescuing Jane. And the cats basically got into the crawl space from inside the house. So I had to go outside the house, around the house, open up the door to the crawl space, and lure Mary out. Jane got stuck in, what do you call it? Insulation. Like, some sort of, it was like a tube of plastic with a layer of insulation between two sheets of plastic. But, like, in a tube shape. And she was inside the tube, so I had to cut through the plastic, then through the insulation, and then through the second layer of plastic and let her out. So that was quite a night. And it definitely, I'm glad that I got it on video. Because now I can show people what I mean when I say I could not keep up with them. And you can see in the video, even though they're literally causing mischief in the video, And, other people like my mother would yell at them and be angry. I do not yell. I use the sweetest voice I can on them, because it's not their fault that they are so curious that they got trapped in the crawl space. And I'm sure they were very scared, especially Jane, who was stuck in the plastic and the insulation. So I'm glad I got that on video so I can explain to people with a video why I rehomed them, because it's a lot more convenient than saying that my ex picked them out and then left them behind in the divorce. Especially since, like, most of the time I try to pretend that me and my ex are on good terms when we're not. We are not whatsoever on good terms. I'm doing something about that, Tuesday. Yep. I'm doing the paperwork Tuesday to get a personal protective order. So I need today to clean the stove and the kitchen counters, and I want to bake half a cake, and I need to spot clean the floors, and by spot clean I mean spot mop. But I need to use the mop to spot clean the floor. And then after I spot clean, I need to actually mop the entire house. And I'm so, like, that's not something that usually excites people, but there's a wheelchair in my kitchen for a reason. And I should text my uncle and ask him if there's going to be any parts of the trip where we do a lot of standing. Because if we do, I need to bring a mobility aid called... Sorry, my mouth just filled with rocks for a second there. I need to bring a mobility aid called a rollator, which is a walker with wheels and a seat. The seat is the important part for me. I can walk just fine, but standing for a long time after walking, I might collapse. I might have to sit on the ground. So to avoid sitting on the ground, which is socially inappropriate, I bring a mobility aid. I got so much mascara on my eyebrow. Or brow ridge, whatever you want to call it. Brow bone, that's what they're called. I learned something today. I kind of suspected it for a while now, but I never could put it into words to Google if it was true or not. So I was watching a video, and women, we have the debate of whether or not it's bad for your self-image and social self-esteem and social settings, and to get eyelid surgery or not to get eyelid surgery is every female makeup artist's question with the hooded eyes specifically. Every hooded eye makeup artist wonders, should I get surgery to make my eyes look more like this? So I could look at people like this, but then you see up my nostrils. So instead I look at them like this, which is more natural. However, you can see the distance between my eyebrow and my eyelashes is very small. That's a masculine trait. And I do have PMOS, which is the new name for PCOS. Don't ask me what it stands for. I haven't memorized that yet. But PCOS is a hormonal condition, and it causes high testosterone. So part of the reason I've never taken testosterone is I wanted to see how far my body would take itself on its own without me inducing male puberty using HRT. And I'm very happy with how far my body has gone on its own, to the point where I'm considering not taking T at all, and instead just doing voice training and possibly voice surgery to like masculinize my voice more, because I could already talk all the way down here. Fly me to the moon, let me play amongst the stars, let me see what spring is like on Jupiter or Mars. See, I can barely hit that bottom note, but I can hit it. I missed the trash can. Oh well, I'll get that later. I'm happy with my body. I don't see a need to change it just to make society more comfortable with my pronouns. That would be the main reason to take testosterone at this point, is to please society, not myself. And that's a recipe for detransition and regret. And I don't want to contribute to the regret statistic of HRT. Doesn't make me any less trans. I was assigned female. I was not assigned intersex. And PCOS, hormonally, is an intersex condition, at least in my case. Because I produce enough I forget the exact numbers, but I produce my own testosterone satisfactory enough to pass as a man. To the point that people sometimes think I'm a trans woman, even when I don't mention that I'm trans. Even back when I was a twink and I was trying to pass as male, some people would think that my feminine traits were part of transitioning to female, as opposed to thinking that the masculine traits were what I was transitioning to. So, I'm happy with the flexibility that my current body gives me, but my voice in particular is what I have the most dysphoria about. My voice and sometimes my chest. Just because they're pretty big. They are pretty big. They're so big it's hard to find a bra. And when I do find a bra, well, where's I thought it had. Here it is. What size is this? Can you tell me? XXXL. Whatever size bra XXXL is, it's the size of my face. And now I need to wash it by hand. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing in the live stream that I'm getting ready for. I need to blow my nose. I'm going to blow my nose off camera. So I'm going to quit yapping for a second. All right, love you. Okay, I waited till it was dark out so that the light would stop hitting me through the mirror. Um, I guess I might as well do the rest of my makeup. I was thinking of stopping here. Really love the blue mascara. I need to figure out what color lips to do, pink or purple. Okay, up next is the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Dewy Liquid Blush in the shade Lucky. It's a hot pink. I mean, a little goes a long way. So as I was saying before, anybody who's into eyeshadow knows that people with deep set hooded eyes, they have to do their eyeshadow differently. So like if I were to put eyeshadow on my upper lid, here, okay, so you see where I'm touching? That's how high up I have to go. All the way to my eyebrow. I'm not moving the glasses at all. So, that is more masculine. Most people who are born female, like I was, most people who are born female have more real estate to put their eyeshadow on. But partially because my testosterone is so high, and partially because my family just has deep set eyes. Some of us have more hooded eyes, some of us have less hooded eyes. But my whole family has deep set eyes. I think deep set eyes are actually more common than non-deep set eyes. But it's partially genetics and partially just high testosterone. And I had always suspected that, but I did finally look up if it was true today. And it is true. It's not just something I observed and assumed. It is something that is backed by science. I had a weird conversation the other day. It was May 9th, and I could not for the life of me figure out why I was having such a bad day, and I chalked it up to how many people were bullying me that day on the internet, and I chalked that up to people getting drunk because it's the day before Mother's Day. And then, I forget if it was yesterday or literally today, I figured out that, the 9th was the anniversary of finding out I was pregnant with my firstborn. And that was a traumatic event. I won't go into detail. I can if you want in another video, but I won't go into detail right now about it. But the event where I was told in the hospital that I was pregnant I was in the hospital, so it was pretty traumatic. And the 9th was the anniversary, and it was Mother's Day when it happened, back in 2021. So for it to be the day before Mother's Day this year, really hit me a double whammy, because my body runs on a lunar calendar instead of a solar calendar. So instead of a Gregorian calendar, it follows more on an Islamic calendar. And because of that, sometimes a random day close to the day of the trauma in question, sometimes a random day that month leading up to or after the traumaversary, the anniversary of a trauma, sometimes just a random day will be a shit day for me that month. And I have a lot of traumaversaries, so it's hard to keep track of them all. Um, but the reason people keep track of their traumaversaries is because if you couldn't notice from me barely posting the past like 2 weeks, I've been really under the weather. I could not figure out why. It was because of the traumaversary. Um, I feel like I'm doing this wrong somehow. Okay, that's better. Um, I have family therapy coming up with my sibling. In fact, I need to check if it's tomorrow or not. But um, I was going to take time in family therapy in order to reach a game plan for next year, next April, how I could make sure that the family does not forget that non binary Parents' Day is my preferred parental holiday. I don't celebrate Mother's Day because it's a traumaversary for me. I would rather them participate in non binary Parents' Day, and I tried texting them to let them know it was coming up. I texted them April 16th. Nobody responded, and it was like the conversation just moved on without anybody acknowledging my text, so I'm not sure if it actually went through. And that scares me that my cell phone might have been telling me that messages were received when they were not. And it might have been doing this for quite a while. So I'm hoping that it was just that the format of the text message made my screenshot look wonky, and that's why I got skipped over. And that maybe next year I can text people the words that I screenshotted instead of screenshotting it, you know? So like I can say, okay, let me pull up the exact text. All right, so on the 16th at 6:11 p.m., so a reasonable time, I sent a screenshot that said, non-binary Parents' Day is observed on the third Sunday of April, which falls on April 19th of 2026. And with that screenshot, I said, if anyone wants to buy me something, I have a few Origin perfumes from Walmart I either tried and liked or haven't tried yet. And nobody responded to that, and the conversation the next day, the next afternoon, moved on as if I had said nothing. So I'm not sure if it's just because I'll show you the screenshot cuts off. Hold on. The screenshot cuts off the words, kind of. So this is what it's supposed to show up, and that did not show up. And I'm wondering if that's where the miscommunication lies. But it's not just that they ignored non-binary Parents' Day, or if my phone didn't actually send the text, then they didn't know, they were ignorant of non-binary Parents' Day. However, they wished me a happy Mother's Day. If if you if you are going to force me to choose between mother and father, I would rather you call me a father. I came out when I was 14 as a he, him. And this is the side of my family that is extremely supportive of my gender being non binary. They supported me when I was a trans man. They supported me when I flip flopped between lesbian to boy crazy lesbian. And now I'm celibate. And they've backed me every step of the way. And it's definitely not that they don't support non-binary people. That's not the problem. In fact, my sibling and my cousin are both non-binary. And my cousin even put me in the group text for Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Day text to all the mothers in the family. She did a group text to keep it, just send one text, which is, it's, we're not in elementary school anymore. We're not making cards by hand for our mothers. That's acceptable to send a group text one and done. Me, I sent a text to my Aunt Kathy, who is my godmother. I sent a text to Brooke, who planned me and my mom's wedding. And she was my babysitter, and when I get my son back, she will be babysitter most likely again. Because she's got custody of her own children now. She adopted children, Who else? Oh, my daughter's mom, who I am in contact with. I texted her and said, to you and your wife, Happy Mother's Day. I haven't been getting any replies from her ever since her son passed away, so I'm being very patient with her. And I also told her, if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you. I'm trying not to cry. Hi, baby. And I called my grandmother and left her a message because that's most accessible for her. And her phone can probably transform my voicemail into text for her to read along while she listens. Because she's hard of hearing to the point of needing a cochlear... Well, she got a cochlear implant and it didn't work. I wasn't surprised at it not working after her sinking buku money into this cyborg device that hooks up to your brain, that you surgically implant. She got the surgery. That was what surprised me, is that an elderly person was getting a cochlear implant. When the cochlear implant did not work, I was like, oh, see, that's yeah. What was the point in trying? I would never say that to her, but I have never heard of an adult getting a cochlear implant. Ever. Cochlear implants, are hard to adjust to unless you do it when your brain is still developing. So for them to try it on my grandmother, who was born before World War II, I was like, what is this? I guess they really wanted her money, huh? But, it was kind of like she's tried other accessibility devices. And it was looking like if it did work, it would be ideal for her to have a cochlear implant. But it just didn't work. So, yeah. Her accessibility device will put the voicemail into text for her to read, so she can read what you are saying as she listens to you say it, which me and her both agree is the best way to absorb media is with subtitles. Me, because I have an auditory processing disorder, her because she's hard of hearing. She can hear you if you raise your voice like I do right here. But the thing is, a lot of the time when I first wake up in the morning, I talk more like this. And it's hard for her to hear me, and it's hard for my stepdad to hear me. Especially if I lean into the vocal fray. So when I talk more like this after I've had my coffee, she can hear me a lot better. What was I gonna do next? Highlighter. Okay. Where's the brush? Give me a moment. If it were a snake, it would have bit me. Speaking of, I know a lot of you do not actually watch these through to the end. Oh, are you okay? He's doing that thing. Those of you actually watching through, enough to hear this part, thank you, by the way. Thank you for actually watching through. I saw how few people actually watch the videos they click on, and it made me depressed and made me kind of not want to post as much anymore, because it just seems like people are clicking and then scrolling away. But I was gonna ask an opinion question. What was it? What was the question I was about to ask? It'll come back to me. Oh yeah, I'm going to be making merchandise where it says phrases, either, I have a collection of hats. So, like, here's one that would sell easily. It says, I'd rather be watching true crime. And I feel like a lot of people could relate to that, When you're grocery shopping, maybe you don't like to grocery shop. So you would wear that to the grocery store. I'd rather be watching true crime. And I've got other hats. I just realized that it's probably not copyrighted. The one that I was thinking was copyrighted. There's one I know for sure is copyrighted, and I cannot sell it myself. When I do my merchandise store and I post links to it, I will post a link to the artist store so you can buy it from the artist. It says, I love that gay little onion, the shallot. And yes, we are talking about a ball cap. Like this. And it says, I love that gay little onion, the shallot. I have a different hat that I suspected was copyrighted, but now that I think about it, it probably is not. The version that is copyrighted, if it's copyrighted, is a red ball cap that says, my grandpa killed Nazis. I have a navy blue hat that says that. It's like a denim kind of color. And I made it custom myself because I saw somebody else with the red hat and I didn't want it to be red. So I made a custom version myself, and that's totally legal. I would have to double check if it's legal to sell somebody else's phrase in a different color than they sell, because I don't know for sure that that's legal, but I'm highly suspecting it is. I'm highly suspecting if I sell it in pink and purple, and green, lime green, that it would be legal to sell hats that say my grandpa killed Nazis. One of the merchandise I want to do is I want to do a shirt and it say, if it were a snake, it would have bit me, with a little pink lipstick tube and like a compact, like clip art of a lipstick and a compact, And the phrase is, if it were a snake, it would have bit me. So if you're actually watching this through, leave a comment if you're interested in any of those in particular. If there's a hat you have seen me wear in any of my videos that you want to see as a item you can buy. Phrases I say are, even if I've said it once in a single video, one off, and you found it just tickled you pink, let me know. Let me know what you want to see on the merchandise. I want to make my audience happy. So we are going to use is it what? Okay, I think it's less liquid than it was earlier, which was the goal. I'm just surprised it happened so fast. We're gonna use a liquefied powder highlighter. It is the Wet n Wild Chameleon Chrome highlighter in the shade Aurora Glaze. I even put the label on it. Aurora Glaze, and it's pink. So I'm gonna dip. Did that get any? Dippy. Okay, that picked up some. I'm gonna mix it in with a little bit of blush. Okay, you can see. Ooh, that's too much. That's still too much. Okay, now that I've worked the blush into it, I'm going to make a C. And then fill in a little bit under the eyebrow. So it's kind of like a crescent moon shape, I guess. It's hard to describe. I'm really excited for it to finish drying so that it isn't as difficult to work with as it is right now. I have a song I don't even know the title of stuck in my head. I can't move on, baby doll. Da 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 places da 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 da. Yeah, that's all I know, and it's not on repeat. Isn't that the most annoying thing ever? When a song you don't know gets stuck in your head. Because usually when a song is stuck in my head, my uncle who worked for Microsoft taught me that if you have a song stuck in your head, you need to listen to the complete song, and in my case, you have to read the completed lyrics to get it unstuck. And I've always found that to be true. So how do I do that for a song I don't even know the title to, and I don't know enough lyrics to search? I don't know why it's not showing up purple on camera. It looks like whitish blue. That's so interesting. Alright, oh yeah, I'm in the philtrum. And the tip of my nose. So in family therapy, I'm going to be asking, how can we make sure that next year nobody wishes me a happy Mother's Day on behalf of me giving birth, and instead they wish me either a happy non-binary Parents' Day in April or a happy Father's Day. It's just, my youngest is about to turn 3. We should have this down by now. Like, I'm not a mystery. I am not a mystery. I am an open book. I've posted to Facebook many, many times and not gotten a peep out of my family on the topic of non-binary Parents' Day. And before I found out that there was a day for non-binary parents, when I did celebrate Mother's Day, before I even have had a living child, I had a miscarriage, and so I celebrated. And when I found out there was a non-binary Parents' Day, I loved the idea, and it fits me much more accurately. And I would love for my family to help me celebrate days where I'm happy, instead of wishing me a happy day that I'm sad, because it's just a little tone deaf. And it would be one thing for them to completely forget, but it's another thing for them to like rub dirt in the wound by wishing me a happy Mother's Day. And I know that's not their intent, but it seems that the impact that their intent has accomplished, whatever you want to call it, the impact that it's had on me does not match their intent. And I need to communicate that with my family. And I don't know how to do it outside of family therapy. So I'm going to be doing it in family therapy. And we will spend part of the family therapy session figuring out how to make sure next year I don't cry my eyes out over this situation again. Because I've just cried over this issue way too many times for me to not speak up. Because I asked my buddy, because he's socially really, really good, and I said, how should I bring it up to my family? And he said, honestly, if they're going to be like that, I just wouldn't even bring it up. And I understand where he's coming from, but I don't want this to happen again. It's one thing to not wish me a happy non-binary Parents' Day. It's another thing to wish me a happy Mother's Day. So next year, I'm hoping we can find out a solution. I love highlighters so much. It definitely looks less liquidy than when I first liquefied it, so I'm happy that putting it in the windowsill helped. I need to blow my nose again, so I'm gonna pause. Okay, I decided to do purple lips. So we are going to Frankenstein a lip look together. I have the Sunset Makeup Lip Gloss in the shade 31. Yeah, it's just backwards for me. And before I put on the lip gloss, we are going to take the Spicy Lip Liner from NYX Professional Makeup Bridgerton 2-piece lip kit in the shade Amethyst Amour. And the reason we're not using this is because it goes on a different color than I would like. I can actually show y'all if you want. So with the Sunset Makeup, we're going to go over the top line, purple. And for the bottom line, we're going to use the Bridgerton, what is it? Royal Butter Gloss. Yellowy green. It's like metallic. It's pretty. It's really pretty. But it's not quite opaque enough of a purple. And it's too warm. You can definitely see the difference in the warmth between that and that. So that is the difference between the two. This is a sparkly, almost metallic one. And this is an opaque, matte gloss. Which sounds like an oxymoron. Or a paradox, even. It's a paradox. Alright, now with... what is this called? What's your shade, ma'am? What are you? Talk of the Ton. This is Talk of the Ton, the lip liner. And it's spicy. So I'm going to line my lips with it. This side looks so much better than this side. Oh well. Good. Now I'm going to fill in the rest of the lips with the liner. I realized halfway through filling in my lips with the liner that I have a purple lip stain I could have done underneath the liner and underneath the gloss. But, oh well. You live some, you learn some. Let me make sure it's facing the right way. I really like the packaging for the Bridgerton lip kits. I do recommend it, even if you only end up using the spicy liner, or if you only use up the gloss. I recommend getting the metal kit because it's so pretty and you can use it for any makeup you want, you know? Okay, now we're gonna go in with lip gloss. Do I have a hair? There's a hair on the applicator. Okay. That looks really good. Alright, here is, oh wait, I forgot. What do you call it? Setting spray. I'm going to be using the Lizzie McGuire Illuminating Setting Spray. It's orange scented. It's supposed to be orange dreamsicle, but you don't really smell much vanilla. And this will make the highlighter melt into the blush better. Alright, now we wait for that to dry. Okay, here's the completed look. If you want to see selfies that I take after I do my makeup, feel free to join my Discord. It should be in the description of my channel. If I remember, I'll add it to the description of this video, but it might take me a minute, so remind me if I forget. But here's the finished product. I love highlighter. I love this highlighter especially. It's so pretty. I'm so glad I have a purple lip liner to go with the purple lip gloss now. Especially a plumping lip liner. I love the spicy, I love it. The NYX spicy lip liners, or lip glosses. Yeah, it's usually a lip oil. And this time it's a liner that's spicy, and I've never tried those spicy liners before. Wait, I held up the wrong one. Where's the correct one? And aha, here it is. So here are the two that I own. I forget if there's any more than this. This might be the only two. Don't quote me on that though. Check the website, see if they have a neutral one. But yeah, they've got pink and they've got purple. Alright, I will see y'all in the next one. Love you, bye.